Hi, I'm Michael Josh. You're watching Gadget Match, and this is our first look at the Samsung Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge. This is Samsung's newest flagship smartphone, announced March 1st in Barcelona. It replaces last year's Galaxy S5. The phone is a big departure from last year's model. As you can see, the biggest difference is build quality. Say goodbye to plastic and faux leather. Instead, the phone sports a glassed front and back and an aluminum frame. As a result, the phone looks and feels more premium than any Samsung smartphone we've seen before. As you can see, the phone comes in two variants, the S6 and the S6 Edge. The S6, especially when seen from the front, still resembles the shape of its predecessors, but looks much more refined. But the star of the show is the S6 Edge. Both phones share a similar spec sheet. The main difference is that the edges on the display of the S6 Edge curve outwards on both sides, giving the illusion that the display infinitely wraps around the phone. The Edge display does not have the same functionality as the Edge display on the Galaxy Note Edge, but comes with a host of notification options. Both phones are roughly the same size as their predecessor, but definitely thinner and lighter. From a design standpoint, the phone not only looks great, but also feels great. Even if there's glass on the back, it doesn't feel slippery like the iPhone 6. It definitely feels like the top-of-the-line smartphone that it is. The glass used on both its front and back is Corning Gorilla Glass 4, meaning it should be pretty much scratch-resistant. Overall, it is the big change that Samsung has promised, and satisfies one of the biggest complaints users have about the S5. The S6 Edge looks stunning. Of course, there are compromises because the phone doesn't have a removable back plate. You can't pop in a new battery and memory card. The phone also isn't water and dust resistant like the S5. This particular fact bums me out a bit because I did enjoy swimming with my S5. But overall, these trade-offs are well worth it. It's worth pointing out that the hugely successful iPhone 6 doesn't have any of these expansion options either. Specs and feature-wise, the S6 doesn't get any revolutionary improvements. Probably most impressive is its built-in ultra-fast wireless charging. You can go from 0 to 100% in 3 hours, and if you're plugged in via USB, 50% in 30 minutes. Having also used the iPhone, I'm pretty stoked that Samsung has changed the way the fingerprint scanner works. The fingerprint scanner on the S6 is pretty much like Touch ID on the iPhone. You just have to place your finger on the home button to scan. No more swiping around. Its already very impressive camera also gets an upgrade. Both the front camera and the main camera now shoot at f1.9. Its main camera has a 16-megapixel CMOS sensor, while its front-facing camera has a 5-megapixel sensor. Like last year's LG G3 and Samsung Galaxy Note 4, the 5.1-inch S6 and S6 Edge both have a Quad HD display. That's 4 times the resolution of HD. That's an impressive 577 pixels per inch. Now here's the rest of the spec sheet. For the first time ever, Samsung is ditching Qualcomm, which makes the popular Snapdragon processor. Instead, the S6 and the S6 Edge will run on its very own Exynos 7 octa-core processor. The phone has 3 GB of RAM and comes in 32 GB, 64 GB, and 128 GB storage options. In terms of specs, the only difference is in terms of battery capacity. The S6 Edge sports a 2,600 mAh battery, while the S6 sports a 2,550 mAh battery. If you compare the S6 to the S5, you'll notice that the S5 has a slightly better battery than the S6, but Samsung says its processor consumes power more efficiently, so you shouldn't have to worry. Software-wise, you'll be happy to note that Samsung's Lollipop implementation of TouchWiz is lighter and unencumbered by extra features that users don't really need. It's an important year for Samsung. At the end of 2014, Apple had taken over as the largest smartphone manufacturer in the world in terms of sales because the S5, the S6's predecessor, didn't really do so well. But Samsung took a different approach with the S6. Internally, the phone is referred to as Project Zero. meaning Samsung really wanted to go back to the drawing board and start from scratch in creating what they believe should be the flagship phone for 2015. Based on our limited time with the phone, I think it's safe to say that the phone will do great and it has the potential to be one of the best smartphones of 2015. My only criticism, maybe they shouldn't have just done this phone, the S6. They should have just gone with the curvier, sexier S6 Edge and called this one the S6. Otherwise, Samsung pretty much hit a home run with the S6. Some people will say there are some similarities to the iPhone, but coming from a critic, someone who's been really critical of Samsung and the S5, I can say that Samsung has injected enough of its own personal flavor into these two phones, enough for it to be considered a standout phone in its own right. There's no word on pricing as of the moment, but the Galaxy S6 and the S6 Edge should be available globally in April of this year. For more videos like this one, make sure you subscribe to GadgetMatch if you haven't already. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below. Until the next video, I'm Michael Josh, signing out.